this drift, which was not it was not a bad drift, but you know, what we're talking about is so specific, and it needs to be reinforced because, you know, with the exception of, like, you know, we were talking about him last night, Eckhart Tolle.
Eckhart Tolle, yeah.
Right. There's hardly anybody as a norm who's talking about the essential importance of being in the now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And again, you know, let's start again. Right now, for you and I, what bad is happening?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't, like, think of anything, you know? Nothing bad is happening. And I can go down a list of things, you know, we've done this before, but, you know, just the basics. You know, money is always an issue for most people, besides money, you know, and that's not actually, like, hurting me or damaging my life. Yeah.
See, right now, is money an issue?
No, not at this very moment in time, no.
Okay, well, understand that this moment in time is all we ever have.
Yeah.
See, this ongoing now, there's only now. You know, like 15 years ago, you were doing a now where you were 15 years younger.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So all we have is this now, 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 now. Yes. And again, the Buddhists have been careful enough with it. They're called mind moments, and the scribes and the Pharisees of Buddhism, right? You know, the note takers of Buddhism, you know, have actually said there's something like 2,000 possible mind moments in every minute.
Yeah. Yeah, we complain that time is limited, or that the days are limited, but if you consider it in those mind moments, there's so many of them.
There's a shitload of them, man, right? Every single day, every single night. Yes. Yeah. Now, this is why I've said to you in the past, where almost everybody in every generation, when they get to be old like me, they go, life has been so fast. That is not the case. You know, I ain't bragging. What I am saying is an expression of gratitude, right? But that is not the case. That is not, since my mid-40s, when this thing opened up a little bit, right? And it took another 20 years to understand what had actually happened. It was that profound. You dig? Right? Mm-hmm. With just this tiny little change of mind, everything is refreshed. Everything. Yeah. Right?
I'm not sure I've done it quite yet, but one thing that I think we've talked about before is, like, if I'm feeling like I'm too tired or too anything to do something, I'll just be like, okay, just give it 10 minutes or give it like 10, 20 minutes. And it always, like, you know, like I'm in a totally different outlook if I just wait a few minutes and, like, you know, do something else, put my mind somewhere else, or, you know, it's, yeah, it's like, it's in that moment, it seems like, you know, oh no, everything is too much, but it's just that mind moment. And then give it like a few seconds to get to another mind moment. And it's like, you know, you're totally renewed, or, you know, it's not even like those were real. It was just a thought that was in your mind for a second. And you just needed a second to refresh and come to a different, you know, perspective, I guess.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. Right. Yeah. So again, but without coming back into the actuality of the now, right? Mm-hmm. Which is
here, right now.
Right, now. All right, now. I know. But the fact is, it's true that all we have is this endless unfolding of the now in this linear expression of living a life. It's still now. That's it. There is no before and there is no after. There isn't.
Yeah, there's just our ideas about it.
Hi, indeed. Yeah. So in part, when we come back into the now, right, we are releasing, this is Krishnamurti in one of his last interviews, where the narrator, the interviewer, says, you have so much energy, right? This is him at like 93, you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. You know, and he says, that's because I have no past. He says, it's really quite nice, he says.
Yeah, it's like Don Juan saying, you know, remove your personal history, take away your...
Exactly right, Alex. That is removing personal history. Now, that does not mean that you get amnesia, right?
Yeah.
Right? But you are not putting importance on endless prior experience, right? most of which will take you back into negativity. And this is
Yeah.
once again about free will, how to be in the now. So again, since the last time I asked you a couple of minutes ago, there have been like, a bunch of nows.
Yeah. And
Yeah?
right now, my cat just came to the door, so I'm gonna go open the door for him.
Okay. Okay.
One second. Yeah, windy.
So there is a metaphor right there. Right there is a metaphor. You were on the couch acknowledging no, the now is okay. Then you had a new now where you had to do something. So then you went and you took care of it, and then you came back to the couch.
Right. And back into this moment,
Indeed, indeed, and back into not the workings of the moment, right? But the acknowledgement of the moment. Beautiful cat. Look at that.
Look at this fluffy.
Yeah, that's a Maine Coon cat. That's like Riso. Yeah, that cat.
Yeah. Getting fluffier and fluffier every day.
Hi,
But
winter coat. Yeah. So
I think it's a good analogy for kind of the, I don't know, the esoteric ideas. Is that like, these you're not screwing up. It's not a sin. It's you can make a mistake, but as long as you go back to the moment and you acknowledge, okay, I'm doing that, and now like some people might be meditating, and they're like, oh no, I can't get up to go fix this because I'm in the middle of a meditation. I need to stick to it. But I think in reality, if you were to acknowledge, okay, I get up, I fix that, I come back and I sit down back into my meditation, there's nothing wrong. I'm not sinning. I'm not doing anything bad. I'm just focusing on the here and the now.
Certainly not sinning, right? Yeah. And this is again where that renowned Zen master, right? And again, you were aware of Matsu. For anybody who's listening to this, right? Matsu was one of the two Chan masters, Chan/Zen masters, who disseminated Chan Buddhism, Zen Buddhism throughout China. One of two people, an astonishing man. And he's the one who said out loud to his students, why is meditation not meditation? Nobody answered. So he answered, it's alive. So, and this is why in formal Zen practice, you do something called kinhin, which is Zen walking. Well, that is practice for being at the supermarket and standing online and then going back into standing online in eternity, not just standing online in the supermarket.
Yeah, it's for all things. It's like kung fu, like polished through repetition but can be through anything,
Through anything. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah. So what the mystics say is, it is easier to come into the familiarity of these ideas, these mindsets, when you're doing formal practice, but it is meant so that you're not just doing it seated, you are doing it in the other three expressions of life. They say there's four expressions of life: lying down, sitting, standing, and walking. That pretty much covers it.
Yeah.
Well, what about running, Chris? Running is included.
Standing. It's just up. Yeah, it's upward. Yeah. But so you can be, in a meditative state in all of those phases of your life.
Height. That is exactly right. Yeah. Now, this is also one of the benefits of martial art practice and like our Qigong practice is that it is moving meditation. It is. And by God, it makes you be in the now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Now, it's being in the now with a goal in mind, which is a little bit extra from what we're talking about, but that's okay. It's
and
like
I think it's a little extra to what most people are used to. Most people here be here now. I'm sure a lot of people have heard that, but they haven't heard what to do next. I'm sure no one talks about that. So I think it is it's not familiar probably to most people.
Right. And the thing is, it is imperative.
Right.
The fact is that, again, because of the way we've been trained, it's not your fault, it's not my fault, it's not anybody's fault who might listen to this, right? we have to become educated. We have to learn about how to be in the world. Well, in doing that, we gain capacity, but we also lose capacity. And the capacity that we lose is the capacity for open wonder, you see?
By kind of conforming to this world and living in this agreed upon state that we all agree upon.
The ideas, not the world, but the ideas of the world.
Yeah. We all have to agree upon a kind of rigid society that to conform, so we all can kind of coexist in a sane way. But it kind of becomes rigid, opposed to what you're talking about is a total opposite of that.
Well, what I'm talking about is both.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And this is in the Tao Te Ching, again, it's a paraphrase. I've done this to you before, and I think we've done this quote before doing this together. The fact is, it's such an important quote, it doesn't matter, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a paraphrase, but it's very close. In gaining worldly knowledge, every day something is added. In gaining the Tao, every day something is taken away. Yes? Right? Now, that is profound. So, again, the outcome of acknowledging that we know nothing, right, is not that you forget how to drive or, make a cup of coffee, for God's sake. Yes?
It's to be humbled, right? It's to be humbled. It's to acknowledge that we don't have all the answers.
Humility is the outcome, but the point of it is to be open.
Yeah.
I mean, we are in the middle of an extravaganza. We are. Let's say that the nihilists are right. This is it. You get to be Alex and I get to be Chris for, 80 rounds of this little planet going around this star. Yes? Right? That's it. That's it. Let's say that is it forever. Right? What would be the best way to use that?
Yeah. I mean, it just seems almost obvious, but I feel like you would want to appreciate it and take it, not take it for granted and utilize it to its, to its most potential. But that does mean different things for a lot of people. Like for me, that doesn't mean go climb Mount Everest and go skydiving. It means just just living a fulfilling life, which could be even, it could even be something like Dennis and Brisa, which is, I don't know, maybe that's not the best example, but it could be something like you found a job that you're fulfilled in and that you could do for the rest of your life, and that's all you need is just your little corner and you're happy and satisfied. Like, it doesn't have to be as much as climbing a mountain. It can be finding satisfaction in your own little corner of life, Yeah, there's animals all over. I think there's one more at the door. I'm going to just keep this open for him.
Dog is so cute. Jesus.
So it snowed a little bit over here, but all of most of the cats, I don't think they've seen snow before because they're all like less than a year old. Yeah. Yeah. But they love it now. They're all into it now. But did you hear about the Loretto Chapel?
No.
The wind was so bad at the Loretto Chapel, it took down one of the big trees in front, one of the main trees. I think the one on the right side. Oh. And so there's pictures of it all over the internet right now. Like it'd probably be in the newspaper.
Check it out.
Yeah. But
yeah, and one of my upstairs window was blown in and open.
Yeah, so David was right when he said wind.
Hi, man. Yeah, woke me up. Yeah.
Yeah. So back to what you're saying. So one thing I always wanted to think about was it's living. You said it's living.
It's alive.
It's alive.
It's alive. Yeah.
And that comes back to what we're talking about is kind of like a situational ethics, which is just kind of looking at each situation in its own individually and not lumping everything together, looking at each situation individually, even if they're two similar situations, and use situational ethics to say what is right and what is wrong. And they could have two completely different outcomes, even if it's a very similar situation.
That is exactly right. It's the same with people, you see, where, again, I was talking to a good friend of mine who is a liberal, quote unquote, but again, he was talking about, he's going to go to Mexico, right? And he was talking about how nice all the Mexicans are. And I did. I went, dude, I'm sorry, but that is equally a statement of, very quiet and benign, but that is still racism.
Yeah, and would it be considered prejudice, or it's a I don't know. It's
Well, what I consider it is lazy thinking, because the
yeah,
fact is that the way we live anyway is we judge each person we come in contact with based on that person,
yeah,
not on where that person comes. Or if we do, we're being stupid. I'm sorry.
yeah. I mean, a lot of people in general do base it on, but I think that's only like some even like I think like okay, if you're like not an extreme racist, but you still have racist tendencies. I think a lot of times when because I've seen some of these people that it's not like outward. It's not like they're trying to be racist. It's like they think they're doing the right thing, and it's like they okay. So I'm just gonna give an example. Um, they see color in a like they assume that all Mexicans or something are all alike. They assume Mexicans or Indians are all alike,
Or that all
but
white people are
or
alike.
all white people, yeah.
Guys,
But
please,
but I
please. Yeah.
think that that's more like behind closed doors. I think when they go out into public and have to deal with these people, it's not so much that thought because they're faced confronted with the reality, which is it's just not true, and we're in a different, we're in such a melting
Well,
pot.
again, the fact is that an individual can be, very benign and loving and wonderful, or horrible and full of shit and
Yeah,
violent and awful, right?
yeah,
But that is based on that one person.
yeah, and in this day and age, and probably throughout all of history, but just so much for me, for each individual race, gender, hair color, there's such a spectrum. There's such a massive spectrum of that individual from mean to eccentric to like I'm just talking about just males, as you like David was talking about when he was growing up. He's how old is David? He's like
70,
60,
73.
73. He said when he was growing up, it was very rigid. Guys were supposed to have one role, girls were supposed to have one role. And then for me, there's such a spectrum of roles that guys play now. From like I know so many guys that paint their nails. That's very popular, and like that's not like shunned upon so much anymore. And like now there's mullets are back, but like there's you can be a buff guy, you can be a girly guy. There's such a spectrum of guys now that it's to say that all guys are the same is a closed-minded statement. Obviously, it's not,
I'm sorry. Not only is it's just stupid.
and it goes for everything: black hair, girls, eight
Exactly
colors. Yeah,
right. Some dogs you got to watch out for. Some dogs wonderfully loving, but you don't say therefore all dogs are loving or all dogs are vicious.
yeah,
All pit bulls are not vicious.
yeah,
Generally pit bulls who've been fucked with by human beings become vicious.
yeah.
So once again, and I don't want to start spreading the buck.
Politics. Yeah,
Again,
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to come back into again. I really want to stay in this here now business because we've only touched on the possible nourishment that one can get from that. We haven't begun to exhaust that one, man.
Yeah.
Right? So again, what we've talked about so far is if you come back into the now, right? Like you and I are in a now where we have the leisure to do what we're doing,
Mm.
right? Right. So that would indicate that this now, which is again discrete, meaning separate in all of eternity. This interaction with you and I is only going to happen once. Well, Chris, in about 5 nows, we're still going to be talking to each other, right? But the variables of this now, as opposed to the now that I just referenced about a
Yeah.
tenth of a second ago,
Or
there
a
are
week ago,
or
we
a week
did the same.
ago,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or week upcoming, there are innumerable variations that make it absolutely distinct. Yes?
yeah,
Right? So once again, you and I can say with a certain amount of conviction that right here, right now, right, nothing bad is happening for you or I. So that's pretty much as far as we've taken this being in now consideration, which is a very good start. You understand? We have the potential to acknowledge, which again is mindfulness. This is real mindfulness. You understand? That word mindfulness is now being horribly
yeah,
bastardized everywhere.
It
right?
means nothing to me because it's been so overused. It's like, what is it? You know, like what is the core concept of it? And it's been so just for so many different things, you know, misused, used improperly, that it's just like it's lost a lot of meaning for me.
Indeed. So, what would it be of benefit to be mindful about? That in innumerable nows, right, we are in a state of absolute ease of being. Now, there are going to be some nows all the way unto us dying that are not going to be such nice nows. You understand? Right? But what we do is we live with that possibility, both coming out of the past and in the future, right, as our normal now, and then we die. So that would be called a waste of life. So we're talking about mindfulness, right? You know, what would be the benefit of being mindful of the fact that we have innumerable nows that are filled to the brim? Nothing bad is happening. Nothing bad is happening.
What would be the benefit of it is the question, though?
No,
that's the question.
The benefit.
That is the benefit. Okay. I thought that you were asking what would be, but yeah, no, I understand. Yeah.
As opposed to all the way unto the lunacy of life's a bitch and then you die.
Yeah. Going full circle, it would be probably not a waste of your life to fill your life with innumerable amounts of nows, you know?
Of knowledge nows that are not painful.
Yeah.
Might that be a good use of mindfulness?
Yeah. It might help fill up a life, especially people whose lives are full of complaints and perceived bad things, you know.
Hi.
Who knows, you know?
So again, now, are there, you know, like billions of human beings who do not have this luxury? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And throughout time periods, I think it's also important to note that if we were born in any other time period, we also might not be so lucky too. Like I'm so lucky that I don't have to.
If we have the four necessities, then it doesn't matter when in history we occur.
Right? But I'm just saying, I'm lucky I don't have to go to war or have to worry about, you know, invaders coming and taking my village or the Black Plague. Yeah, famine.
I mean, we are now dealing with pestilence. We are dealing with pestilence, one of the four riders of the apocalypse. We're doing that, man. Mm-hmm. Well, the fact is that, you know, Africa has been dealing with the pestilence of HIV and AIDS for the past 40 years. You know, so in those realms, they are dealing with the apocalyptic horse of pestilence as a norm. Well, again, you and I are not doing that.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. You know.
Yeah, especially where we are in New Mexico, just such like a closed off little community, you know, in terms of just like weather phenomena, you know, like we're very safe here.
Yeah, we are not on the flatlands of Middle America, which is being just shredded by the climate crisis.
Yeah. So it's very important to acknowledge all of these things that we are very fortunate to, you know, to have.
Hi. Yes. Now, so again, that is sort of that is the first floor, right? That is the ground floor.
So, in my generation, there's this new kind of meme that's coming around. It's called the iceberg, and it's a tier chart. So the ground level is the little part poking up. The second part is like a little bit more extreme. Third part a little bit more extreme, and then the bottom is the most extreme. So it's a tier list, kind of like what you were kind of just doing. But it's called the iceberg.
Not TEAR.
I think it's TIER, tier.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what is it specific to?
It's a template that people use for different analogies. So this could be an analogy that we could apply to that tier list. You know, the surface level is what we're talking about, but then it gets a little bit more in depth as you go down. It was just an analogy.
It's like a lot more in depth as you go.
Yeah.
So this is like the inverse, and what you're talking about reminds me of what's called Maslow's hierarchy of need.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and again, because Maslow was influenced by Americana culture, he said that the apex is self-actualization.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit last week. Yeah.
Yes, there's another step above that, which is self-realization. Yes? And without that, none of this makes sense. None of it. None of it. Yes? Yeah?
But self-actualization, actually, it's not so important. Let's go back, because I kind of derailed it with the tier list. I was just thinking of an analogy that would help for my generation to kind of understand this. But back to what you're saying is the be here and now and appreciating is the first level. But
That's
then what after that?
That is it really, right? As far as wonder goes and hope, that is the most superficial reference, and it's pretty nourishing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean that can do wonders. That can do so much.
Indeed.
Yeah, so right there,
it's the most superficial reference of what we're talking about. Now, again, if you could have even 10 times in every given day where you go, no, right now, no, it's cool, right? Right now, as a matter of fact, it's a gas. It's fine, right? Yeah, right. Just 10 times.
I have this thing where me and my mom will be kind of in a kerfuffle mood because we just have to be around each other and we're both angry. And I want to be angry, but then I'm also like, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. And then I'm like, then I'm like conflicting with myself, but I'm like, I want to be angry, but I'm like, no, there's nothing to be angry about. And it's like this, like, it's so funny. And it doesn't lead to anything bad. It tends to me being like, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. But that's a funny thing where like internally I'm like, don't do that. Nothing, I want to be angry, but then I'm like, there's nothing to be angry about. It's
well done. See, this is you using these ideas to efficacy, where there's actually something of merit that comes out of thinking like this, you see? So this is, what is the benefit? What is the reward for this kind of mindfulness? What you just said is case in point. Where my anger is the most real thing. You're going, well, shit, no, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing's actually wrong right now.
Right, well, it's kind of silly.
Yeah, and it's a lot of times like where maybe it's like if I become like, I don't necessarily get depressed, but I'll get down on myself just for not, for a multitude of different reasons. If I'm not working enough or if I'm not playing enough, if I don't balance those things out, I can get down on myself. And then when I'm down on myself, the same thing, I'm like, what's actually wrong? And I'm like, there's nothing actually wrong. It's just a mental state. And so like, and then I'm like, okay, there's no, it's another one of those.
Yeah, you can use that in the now, like you said, to take you're right. If you take I'm tired right now. Okay, so you go, okay, cool. I will acknowledge, I'm going to give myself a couple of nows to be tired, right? Yeah. And then in a couple of nows from now, I'm going to see how I feel. And you're right. The damnedest thing is if you allow yourself that fully, right?
Yeah.
When you walk, when you run, above all, don't wobble. If you really allow that to happen, you will gain energy. It's the damnedest thing. It is.
I think this is going to kind of take it a little bit. I don't want to derail it too much, so I won't get too in depth with it. And I don't think it's too pertinent, but it's once we understand what we're just talking about, a cool thing that we can do is I heard about this marathon runner. She does these like 3-day marathons where she run all night and all day. And she has a guy who follows her in a truck. And she'll take a nap in his truck. And she started getting these 1-minute naps down where she would go lay down for 1 minute. And she said that for her, that's all she needed to continue. And for some reason, she found the perfect amount of like REM sleep with that 1-minute nap. And so I've kind of started to do that. And I realized like, okay, if I feel like I need a nap or I feel like I'm tired or anything like that, just like even before work, if I'm like, oh no, I have to go to work or anything, just like it's not meditation because it's a different thing than meditation.
But it is meditation. But it is. You see,
but it seems very similar. But I don't want to belittle meditation because I'm not doing the same tactics.
No, au contraire. Yeah. This is just like the metaphor of you being on the couch and you saying to me, "This now, there's a cat at the door," right? Yeah. So you did a couple of nows to go to the door, let the cat in, and then a couple of more nows to come back and sit down into the new now on the couch.
Right. Yeah.
Where nothing bad is happening and there's no responsibility and there's no burden. This is called balance. This is balance, dude.
Yeah. It just makes sense.
Right. Now, go ahead. Why does it make sense? Go for it.
Because you're not hurting anything. You're not damaging anything. You're not like you may be breaking a rule, maybe like a social rule of something like that, especially for an online format like this where two people are, discussing something and a person like breaks the conversation to get up to do something. It might be like a formal imposed rule, but it's not a sin. You're not hurting anything. You're not doing anything bad. You're not damaging anything,
No, the thing is that whether you are on your way to open the door or on your way back from opening the door or opening the door and seeing the cat come in the door and then coming back, you are mindful in all those states.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah.
Right? Where you can go, even as I am getting up to open the door for the cat, this is not a big imposition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like the ease of the couch versus the burden of letting the cat in, right? It's like, that's not a burden. Right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it cost me nothing.
Indeed. So then you see, then there's the potential of being mindful in the action and in the repose.
Mm-hmm.
Seated, right? Or in action, going to open. I mean, when I do my morning meditation, I will say to you and anybody who hears this, I can't, for years I was able to sit for an hour, right? And that would be my morning for an hour. Well, I can't do that anymore, right? My knees are too old and my butt is too old. So yeah. I can do a half hour and then I have to get up and kind of stretch my legs. Yeah. So do I do formal lifting, foot planting, heel? No, I don't do that, right? I do this, I do the mudra, right? But I get up and I give Big Boy a pat and I give Risu a pat and then walking and then I come back and sit down and then my knees are relieved and my butt is relieved.
He's got him all his little toy. He's a funny little guy.
But again, in that process, I am as mindful as if I'm doing lifting, foot planting, heel. I'm awake, right? Yeah. So the thing is to be, and again, in all those nows of patting, walking and patting the two cats, there's nothing bad happening for me, me. Now, I do acknowledge that for billions of other people and trillions of other beings on the planet, in the now that I am walking and patting the cats, right, their nows are fucked. Right? Yeah. I know that. Therefore, I relish my now. I acknowledge, for no other reason than sheer good fortune, right? Is mine now filled to the brim with ease of being, right, and lovely interactions with other beings. Yes,
and then people, just for anybody listening that has all kind of preconceived notions about what we're talking about, it doesn't have to stop there. You appreciate your own great fortune, and you relish in your own great fortune, but you also so it doesn't become a just a complete act of selfishness. You can also use that great fortune to give back, and which I know you do. But like donations or whatever it is to help to give back.
Whatever you do. But the terrible sorrow about all this is that if we are living with chronic self-imposed dukkha, an anguished sense of lack, right, then we are going to feel that we don't have enough. There's not enough for us to be of service to others.
So do you think that that's pretty normal? Most people have that, what is it, anguished sense of lack?
Sense of lack, yes.
That's pretty typical for most people to have.
All people.
Even if you have abundance in your life? Because I know a lot of people like that too.
Yes. Yeah. Even you and I, you dig?
And so,
Alex, even you and I.
No, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So, but this is important. Then we're back to Steven Seagal. I don't give a fuck about that. It's about me.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Do I have an abundant life beyond expression? Beyond expression. I mean, if we compare my house to any number of houses that you experienced in Vietnam or Cambodia, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Come on. Right? Yeah. Shit, this is a palace, for God's sake. Yes? Yeah?
Seriously. Keeps coming back. Yeah, no, I know, I totally agree. And it's and I think that, I don't know, for me personally, I don't know about anybody else, it can become the the fact that we all have that anguish sense of lack. It can be a burden, or it can be just a kind of like a puzzle, or not a puzzle. I don't know what the best way to work is, because in my mind, like, it's just like an obstacle to overcome. But once you overcome that obstacle, you kind of you harness it. You can utilize it. It's not like a negative thing. It's just like, I don't know how to do it. Like, I want to say like a puzzle. I want to say like it's a puzzle that you have to work out and figure out how to use correctly.
Well done.
The anguish sense of lack.
This is mindfulness.
Yeah, because if we all have it, does it mean that we are all just ruined? We're all just doomed people because we all are gonna, just anguish sense of lack.
Because we have free will and we can change our minds. Wait a minute, I'm being now. I need a now to open the door for the cat. Yes. Yes, good girl. There you go.
So, like, I don't know how, like,
so if I may, so I was just seated in a place of repose. I'm seated, obvious repose, right? So then I got up and I spent a little bit of time opening the door and talking to the cat, all of which was nice nows.
Yeah.
They were all very nice nows. They were nows in action, but they were still nice, mindful nows. Nothing bad is happening. I'm not being run over, right? I'm not dying, right? Or I am dying, but I'm not dying fully right now.
At the very second, yeah.
You see? So again, this is being, the other word for mindfulness is being awake,
Mm-hmm.
Yes? And being awake in the now. Yes? Yeah. So with that being said, what were you going to say?
I'm just trying to figure out how to articulate this, but it's like, I could sit here and say, I am ruined person. I don't know how to articulate it. It's really hard to articulate. I have a thought process in my head, but I could just be like, oh, I'm doomed. Since I have this anguish sense of lack, and we all have it, and it seems just a natural part of human beings, I could just say, oh, it's too much, I give up. Or I could say, this is a obstacle that we all have to deal with, but in overcoming that obstacle, you will become stronger. Because then if you don't have that anguish sense of lack, you can appreciate what is around you and enjoy life more. And so it's an obstacle to overcome, but it'll make you stronger in the end. Whereas if you give into it,
yeah, but the neat thing is that it's not just an obstacle. Once you wake up to it, then it becomes a tool of return to come back to an open mindfulness where you go, no. Right now for you and I, is there a legitimate anguish sense of lack? Is there?
No.
No. Yeah. I mean, no. The answer is no. Emphatically no. Now, if we were starving to death in the bowels of Calcutta, the now would be, right now there is a real anguish sense of lack. It's real. When you are ill, those nows are anguish senses of lack. That's real. But if you are in good health and in memory of nows where you were ill, or in fear of nows where you're going to be ill, and you were wasting this now where you're not ill, that would be called lunacy.
Or like, here's just one that's a little bit more, I don't know how to describe it, materialistic.
Okay.
But a 16-year-old doesn't get the car he thought his parents were going to buy him for his 16-year-old birthday. So he lashes out and I hate you, parents, and throws a fit. It's like, is he actually in an anguish sense of lack because he didn't get that car, or is he just being
unappreciative?
Appreciative.
Wait, I gotta let her in again.
No worries. Captain's jumping all over everything over here. Yeah, I have this light on right here, and Captain's jumping on the cord for it.
Hi. So with 10 minutes to go, I just want to say, look, I want to stay on this now until we really have plumbed the depths of the reward of coming back into the now, right, as an ongoing return, ongoing throughout all the days and nights of our lives. Yes? Yeah? So that more and more and more that becomes our return instead of going back into lament about the past and anxiety, anticipation about the future. Yes?
Yeah.
What did you just do?
He knocked out the lamp, so there's no light anymore. He keeps knocking it out, so I'm not even going to try to turn it back on. But
again, I can see you with great clarity. It's fine. It's fine, okay. Yeah. It's okay. So again, where we've gotten to today is that in coming back into the now, just in acknowledging, okay, I'm going to be real with myself now, right here, right now. What bad is happening? Now, again, if you're changing a tire on the side of the highway in a given now, it's like, yeah, this now is compromised marginally by having to change a tire. Right? If you're dealing with David, what David is dealing with his lumbar no longer having a disc in between the lumbar and it causing him terrible pain, right? He is dealing now with a shitloads of nows that are really very, very painful, right? Right? Well, that sucks. Period.
Yeah,
that sucks.
And you got to acknowledge that too, and you know.
Indeed. Indeed. But again, he's also now, because he has enough reserve, that he's working out different ways to deal with it. So then he comes back into then renewed nows where, again, the pain is less severe because he's worked out the pain medication balance, right? You know, and I do know that, for instance, when he and I are talking about these ideas at the Zen group or whatever it may be, right, he's not paying any attention to his lumbar.
And do you think that he's just so caught up in the moment that he's able to ignore it? Or do you think that he's actually pain-free at that moment?
It's not even an act of ignoring it. He is just so invested in the ideas that we're talking about, right, that he's not ignoring the discomfort. It's just the discomfort is just not part of his mindfulness at that moment.
Yeah.
What his mindfulness is about is, again, being nourished and even invigorated by these ideas that we're talking about, right? Yeah. So again, this is not about again yeah, there's another one. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Man, yes, come. Yeah, be nice, you two. Be nice. So there's a Taoist saying that life is a balance of the 10,000 sorrows and the 10,000 joys. You know the saying. I've said it to you before, right? Well, again, once you become mindful, once you really, really wake up and start working with the truth of these ideas, again, now we've got a whole brand new now. What bad is happening?
Nothing at this moment.
Nothing. Okay. No. So throughout all the nows that you and I have experienced over the past 40 odd minutes or 50 minutes together, right? All the nows have been good. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a mystical experience.
Yeah, nothing. No pain, no suffering, nothing, damaging or or unfixable or anything like that.
Anything like that. Now, again, you know that if you stay this mindful, a good portion of your day-to-day is going to be the same.
Yeah. So here's one thing I want to kind of ask about. So it was a gym. For the gym, it said, "Be stronger than your excuses." And I think like when in times like how I'm butting heads with myself now, where I'm like, I want to be angry for no reason at all, but I'm also like, there's no reason to be angry. And usually I can overcome there's nothing wrong right now. There's no reason to be angry. Sometimes I think our excuses can become stronger than our convictions about the truth, about reality. Just that nothing's wrong right now. but sometimes we make up these ridiculous excuses, and
Right.
that
So we can,
yeah
yes,
yeah
yeah,
yeah yeah
yeah.
so yeah
Right.
so
But the thing is, once you become mindful of that, which is you with anger, it's
yeah
like, well, it doesn't. It no longer has the potency. The anger no longer has the
yeah
potency. It's very cool. It's
yeah
so cool, man.
yeah
Right? None of our thoughts then have the same kind of potency. Now, this is different from you pushing yourself to complete your manuscript. That's different. That is very different. You understand me? Right? And then you do have to work with our propensity of being lazy. And again, this is not a shameful thing. This
yeah
is not. Yes, our cousins are sloths. It's okay, right? But that tug of war, that's a whole other thing. And there
yeah
you do have to apply a certain degree of discomfort to push yourself over that membrane of, I don't know, right? But what we're talking about, again, that is being in the world, that is gaining worldly knowledge. But what we're talking about now is gaining the Tao. Do you remember that statement?
just the one where it says every day we take we learn some of the Tao, and every day some of the Tao is taken away, or
No,
something
no,
like
here it is specifically, so you have it, okay? In gaining worldly knowledge, one could say in gaining worldly result, as in you writing your manuscript or learning Qigong or me doing the sword, blah, 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 blah.
completing something.
That is worldly knowledge, right? So in gaining worldly knowledge, every day something is added, right? You build,
Yeah
yes? In gaining the Tao, every day something is taken away. So in us talking about returning to the now,
yeah
right? We are not going into, again, the added ingredient of being in the now and pushing oneself, right, to accomplish something. You see? Like, let's just stay for the time being at the acknowledgement
be
that,
here now.
again, if you were being chased by militia through the wilderness, right, you're not going to be able to work on your manuscript. Yeah?
Yeah
Right?
yeah
Right?
yeah
But
yeah that's a
you're
leisure thing. That is a thing to the fact that I can do that is because I have the incredible fortune of leisure
to
to
do
sit
it.
down and do
To
something
do it.
like that.
Indeed.
Yeah
Indeed. But then, yes, then you have to go into, again, the slight sandpaper of pushing yourself into action. But for the time being, I don't want, we'll go into that a little bit later as far
yeah
as, using the
action, doing something. Yeah
hype,
yeah I understand. It's right now we're just talking about the tool of
of
not
being,
bitching all the time, of how to
hype,
not bitch all the time.
how do we be?
Yeah, how
See?
do we be yeah, yeah, and that's why I was kind of equating it to a puzzle or an obstacle. I really wanted to say game, but I don't know if it totally works as an analogy, but it is a tool is a good way to do it. I think for me, game, it just it means a lot more for me because the games have become so advanced, but tool is good. It's a great tool for how we can work our mind
Hype,
and
hype.
be in our lives without it just being endless pain and bitching and suffering. Even though we have those things, we know that it's
Based,
not.
based on ideas.
Yeah,
Based on ideas, not
yeah,
based on fact.
yeah,
Right? I mean, it's lunacy. That
yeah.
is lunacy. Yes, I told you, like when I was reading one of the articles in the Playboy years ago, right? You know what I mean? There was a cartoon of a guy on a hillside with his girlfriend with a picnic and the birds and there's deer and the sky is beautiful and he's writing a poem and he says to his girlfriend, "What rhymes with garbage?"
Yeah. 'Cause that's what he's thinking about at the moment.
What he's thinking
He's thinking
about.
about garbage and this beautiful, and it's an analogy for life for what we all do.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
indeed, indeed. To our despair and exhaustion.
Mhm.
You dig? You
Yeah,
dig? Right? Again, this is not denying that there are some nows that are going to be problematic unto hand wringing, legitimate hand wringing.
Mhm.
Yeah? Yeah? When my dad killed himself, there were a series of not good nows. I got to tell you, they were not good nows. They were heartbreaking nows. You feel me? Yeah?
yeah,
Right? But is that happening now, 25 years later? No, it is
no,
not. Yeah?
yeah, and you can't. Well, I mean, obviously, I guess this is not even in the realm of discussion, but you don't let that eat at you years later. You know, you don't let that consume you or take over or anything like that, because what is that going to
Why
accomplish? You know,
would I?
yeah,
Why would I? You
because it's an
know,
idea. You know, it's an idea. It's not reality.
now it's an idea. You see,
Yep,
now it's an idea. When it happened, it was a fact,
fact.
right? But the fact, again, the fact now is lost in my past.
Yeah.
It's lost. It's gone. It's gone. Yeah.
And
No.
that's kind of losing your personal history. Is you can dwell on those things from your past, good, bad, missed opportunities, painful things, accomplishments. Even I did all of this great stuff, but it's all stuff that's in your past that at this moment is kind of irrelevant. You know, it doesn't have any real impact on right now, and
It
so it
does not.
doesn't
No,
serve you. You know,
it's not kind of. It's a fact. It
yeah,
does not. Now, if you are involved in gaining worldly knowledge,
mhm,
where then the past of you writing a chapter, right, allows you the understanding that you have that capacity to write
mhm,
another chapter, right? That is good use of the past. You understand what I'm saying,
definitely,
right?
yeah,
But again, it's really good that mindfulness came up, because again, this really is the issue where we are. Yeah, again, when you are in joy, be in joy. When you are in sorrow, be in sorrow. Above all, don't wobble.
yeah. Don't be in between. Don't
Hi.
be, you know, when you're a lot of people. So, like an example is when I was younger, going to an event. I would be like, what's the point of enjoying this event? Because it's just going to be over. And I always get to that point when it was over and I'd be going back home. And I'm like, well, everything's going to end. So what's the point of enjoying it? So while the whole time I'm there at the event, I'm not enjoying it because I'm thinking about it being over. So I'm wobbling on this in
I
between,
would
you
say
know?
a counter idea, because it is going to be over. I really should enjoy it with more
Yeah,
mindfulness.
exactly. You know, yeah. Yeah. And so that's not wobbling. That's, you know, taking the two
That's
and using them both, you
right.
know?
Right. But again, we have been trained to believe, and I don't know, part of it, which is just makes me want to just jump up and down and break something, is this comes out of us being impacted by the psychology of advertising. Where
Right.
no matter what we are, well, no matter what we have, we are told that we need a better car, we need a better house, we need a better, beard, we need endless,
Yeah.
more, and then we will be fulfilled, right?
Yeah.
God Almighty.
You know,
Uh,
like
and,
you need the trophy wife, and in order to have the trophy wife,
uh,
you need the trophy house, car, job, and in order to have that, you know, then it's this whole thing done, and it's all you have to have these things in order to be fulfilled in your life. And will any
indeed.
of those things lead you to fulfillment? I mean, maybe not, I don't know.
Well, again, then we come back to right here, right now. Do you need a trophy wife to be at ease?
At ease, like to. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you talk
Right
to a
here.
lot of
No, no.
people with
I
trophy
don't care about
wives,
people. I'm not. You
yeah,
right now, this now, which will only happen once in all of eternity, right? Do you need a trophy wife to be at ease?
no, it might make me probably it probably would put me not at ease most of the
No, it
time.
would not. It would not. It would ruin ease.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I understand.
so, so, but again, yeah, we're going to stop now. But I just want to say, so we're reestablishing the relevance, right, of being mindful throughout all of our days, right? And let's just start with today,
Yeah.
right? To maybe pause in 15 minutes and go, okay, right
What's wrong
here,
right now? Yeah.
you know,
What's wrong right
no,
now?
right here, right. It's great.
Yeah.
And then what happens for us, because we are so fortunate, is it is not a balance of the 10,000 sorrows and the 10,000 joys. It's more like the 10,000 sorrows and the 100 million joys, for
Yeah.
God's sake. And
Yeah.
then life makes sense.
And like this is really true for me, and I think you can ask anybody that's ever known me. Really, my only big problem ever in life is a monetary thing, but that's never ever affected me so much so that I'd be like, my now is ruined because I don't have money in the bank. You know,
Hi,
that's my
hi.
only real issue, and that's a good fortune. I'm poor, but I'm very fortunate just
Well,
to
it's
say that's my
also
only problem.
because you work.
Yeah, right. And I work as much as I can, you know.
We are middle class, but again, that couch that you are sitting on is probably a $2,000 couch.
Yeah. It was, yeah. When, yeah. I mean, I got it for free, but it was
Right?
from
I
someone
understand.
wealthy who.
Well, again, I
Yeah.
wonder how many people in the bowels of Calcutta would be offered a couch of that quality, and the
Yeah,
answer is none.
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 Yeah, people have to
None.
pay $100, and so I'm amazingly fortunate. And even that minor thing that some people could say is a setback doesn't affect me, and I don't use it as a thing to say my life is bad. If anything, it like um, if I'm worried about my rent, if I'm like worried that I'm not gonna make rent, I
Hi.
don't necessarily stress about it. It doesn't stress me out. I just know that okay, I'm gonna have to
Yeah, so then
arrange
what you
things.
do is you take your life force and you use that, right, mindfulness to articulate how you're going to pay the rent.
Yeah, exactly. I don't let it
No,
overwhelm me and stop me from doing anything, you know. It's not a burden. It's not so much of a burden
hi, this is
being
the
broke.
point.
And I think that's
This,
probably one of the biggest burdens that I could potentially think of for me.
well,
But it's
this is,
not.
and this is why people go, well, how is this going to help any of these ideas? How is this going to help me pay the bills? The answer is it will not help you pay the bills. It will balance having to pay the bills.
Yeah.
You understand? Because
Yeah.
then paying the bills is happening in a setting that is so huge, so majestic, right? That again, paying the bills becomes secondary, not primary.
Yeah.
Right. And with
Yeah.
that, we got to go because we got to stop, dude.
Uh-huh.
So love to you. Now, so let's stay on this. And if I start to drift, I want you to pull us back into. Let's get back to right the reward of being mindful as a norm, right, of this here and this now, which is ever moving.
So I guess we did the superficial level. So let's do the next level
Hi.
next time.
Hi. Next
What we
time.
do next.
That dog is so. See, your mom did so good, right?
Yeah,
Your
he's
mom
so
did so
loving.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great little guy.
And he looks so happy, right?
Yeah, he's so happy. He is. He is. All these animals are very happy.
Well, you see, when I see Big Boy sleeping like this, right, it makes me feel so good because he's
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
safe.
yeah.
Yeah.
All the cats and the dogs, they all lay together. It's so cool.
And you see, we are now allowing nows for them that are absolutely benign and safe. In the morning
Yeah,
when I do my meditation, both the cats go to sleep.
yeah,
They're like, nah, it's safe. Everything else, I'm going to
yeah.
sleep. Yeah. All right, dude. Love
That's
to you.
awesome. All right, love to you too. I'll see you next week.
Next week. Hi, hi.
All right, take it easy.